Printing from a lino block. Here's some resources you might need.
Okay, we're now going to have a go at using our lino cut to create a print and see how it comes out. So for this task, you're going to need a selection of paper just slightly bigger than your lino size. You're going to need a brayer or a roller, a palette, or for this task today, I'm going to use a piece of just a sheet of acetate to put my ink on. Any kind of plastic surface or non-porous surface will do the trick for rolling out ink. And then ideally you're going to need some block printing ink. So this is the correct medium for creating prints with. But if you don't have any of this, you can give it a go with acrylic paint instead. Okay, so to get started, I'm just going to clear my working area. I'm going to use just a piece of scrap paper to lay my lino onto. I'm going to roll out a very small amount of block printing ink. I can always add more if I need more. And use my brayer to roll out my ink until it's nice. It's a nice even layer. And then when you hear that sticky sound, you are ready to apply that to your lino. Okay, really gently just roll over the top of your lino. And this is when you get a really good idea of what your print's going to come out like. We want a nice even layer over the top of the surface. Make sure you go all the way to the edges as well. Okay, and then at this stage, a lot of people tend to pick up the lino and then stamp it down on their paper, but actually the correct way is to leave it where it is. Take your paper and lay your paper over the top of your lino. Then use the flat of your hand just to gently transfer the ink. Now, I'm using black block printing ink, but of course you choose the colour that you want to use. It doesn't have to be black, it could be any colour. Okay, and the big reveal. Oh, it's come out really clear, but very faint. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give that another go. And what's lovely about printing is that you can create so much artwork just through trial and error. If it doesn't work, think about why it hasn't worked very well, redo it. So in this case, it's a lovely clear print, but it's very faint. So I've just applied a little bit more block printing ink to my palette. And I'm going to apply that again to my print. Okay, let's give that another go. Okay, another piece of paper. You're going to need a nice big stack of paper because you're going to find that this becomes a little bit addictive. Lay that over the top. Use the flat of your hand. Okay, that's a lot clearer. That's come out really nice actually. Okay, so at this point, what you're going to do is take a look at your print and decide whether there are any areas that you want to cut away to add a little bit more detail. So I love the way my flowers have come through really clearly. What I might do is just take a little bit more away from the outside of them. And it's up to you. You can go and wash your plate and then cut into it, or if you don't mind getting a little bit mucky, just cut straight into it now and then create more prints from it. Yeah, give it a go yourselves. What you might also want to do is to experiment using a different selection of papers. I've got an old envelope there. You might want to use some brown paper, newspaper, different coloured papers, and just have a little go perhaps with different coloured ink as well, and just really explore the process, because it really is quite an exciting one. Okay, so I've cut into my design just slightly. I've neatened up some of the edges and cut in a little bit more detail. So what I'm going to do now is I am going to show you how your print might work using acrylic paint. So I'm just going to use an alternative colour to black. I'm going to use yellow ochre. The issue with using acrylic is that you need to make sure you clean off your plate as soon as you are able, because if it dries on, it might spoil your design slightly. It's very difficult to get off once it's dry. If you've washed your plate, then you need to make sure it's completely dry before you create a print from it, so you get a nice clear image. The best way to do that is to use something like a kitchen towel or something like that. Okay, let's give this a go. So I'm just going to roll up my paint. And then I am using one of the prints that I made earlier. Ideally, you need to allow this to dry before printing over the top of it. But for the purposes of the tutorial, I'm just going to see what happens if I do it whilst it's still wet. Okay, so I'm just going to apply my acrylic paint over the top, and you'll see that you'll still get lots of like little marks. Block printing ink creates a really neat layer because that's what it's designed for. But acrylic, you'll still get lots of little bumps and marks. We'll give it a go. Okay, move your palette to the side, and then we're going to, I'm just going to pinch the corners there and then apply that in the exact spot over the top. Doesn't matter if it's not in the perfect position, because I think it might still create an interesting print. And then hopefully what we'll see is the areas that I've cut away, they will show through black. Let's see. Okay, it's not come out as strong as I'd have liked, but you can still sort of see the edge of the yellow. This has created a kind of 3D effect, which I quite like. I'm going to have another go and apply a little bit more paint this time. And I'm going to use the same print again. But if you've previously made lots of prints to work with, you can give it a go with a new print. Let's see if this works. Yeah, that looks good. So I really like the idea of layering different prints. I've got this sort of 3D effect going on, which I really like. And you can see the areas that I've cut away are really sort of showing through in comparison to what's behind them as well. So have a go at experimenting with different colours and having a go at layering up. If you can make lots of prints to begin with, you can use those to then print over the top of those. Yeah, give it a go yourselves.